With most of the top NFL free agents of 2021 signed, it's time to take a step back and look at the big picture. Which teams came away as the big winners and who came out as the losers? Winner: New England Patriots. Last year, the Patriots missed the postseason for the first time since 2008. They also suffered their first losing season since 2000. That was Bill Belichick's first year as the Patriots head coach, too. Bill didn't take losing his season so well, so with a plethora of cap space, he went right to work. He signed Cam Newton to solidify the QB position short term. Then he went about upgrading an unproductive receiving unit, bringing in dynamic tight ends Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, and speedy wideouts Nelson Agholor and Kendrick Bourne. Belichick also upgraded an aging defense by landing sack specialist Matthew Judon, veteran cornerback Jalen Mills, and nose tackle Devon Godchaux. Old friend Kyle Van Noy was also brought back on a one-year deal. The Patriots are fully locked and loaded now. The powerful rushing game won't have to carry the offense alone anymore. Newton has all the support he needs for a bounce-back season, and an already stingy defense managed to add even more toughness up front. This was a rare instance where Bill Belichick had a ton of cap space to use. His 2021 shopping spree could very well go down as one of the best single offseason outings in history. Loser: Las Vegas Raiders. If you can figure out what the Raiders' long-term plan is, please let us know. We're trying to figure it out ourselves. The Raiders had one of the NFL's best offensive lines in 2020. Then John Gruden decided to trade away Trent Brown, Rodney Hudson, and Gabe Jackson. For what reason? To clear up cap space? Doesn't make sense because the Raiders didn't do much in free agency. They landed Yannick Ngakoue on a reasonable 2-year deal worth $26 million. But they did nothing to upgrade their horrible secondary, and replacing Nelson Agholor with John Brown is a lateral move at best. Agholor was a tremendous fit in Gruden's offense, so why let him go? The Raiders also overpaid running back Kenyon Drake, even though they already have Josh Jacobs in the fold. So, to recap, their offensive line got worse, and they're expecting one pass rusher to fix the league's third worst scoring defense. What a terrible start to the offseason for Gruden and Mike Mayock. Winner: Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's the best way to maximize your chances at a repeat? How about keeping the entire band together? The defending champions managed to keep all 22 starters from Super Bowl 55. That should be a scary thought for the rest of the NFL. It's the first time it has ever happened for a defending champ in the salary cap era. Star wideout Chris Godwin was handed the franchise tag. GM Jason Light also retained Levante David and Shaq Barrett on multi-year deals. Rob Gronkowski and Ndamukong Suh and Leonard Fournette also returned on team-friendly one-year contracts. Oh, and Tom Brady's contract was extended for another season. The Bucs didn't make any giant splashes in free agency because, quite frankly, they didn't have to. If you can win a Super Bowl once with this core, you can do it again. As a bonus for the Bucs, the Saints, Seahawks, and Packers all lost significant pieces this offseason, so I guess we can just go ahead and pencil in the Bucs as the team to beat in the NFC. Loser: Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky had another frustrating season for the Bears in 2020. He only won back the starting job because Nick Foles suffered a hip injury. Trubisky caught fire down the stretch and helped the Bears claim the final wildcard spot in the NFC. But he didn't get anything going in the playoff loss to the New Orleans Saints, and the Bears decided to cut ties with him. Trubisky should have had some value as a potential starter. His numbers aren't downright awful. He helped the Bears reach the playoffs twice, and he's only entering his age 27 season. Lots of other teams could have used him. But nope, Trubisky didn't wait long before settling on a cheap one-year $2.5 million deal with the Buffalo Bills, who already have one of the league's best quarterbacks in Josh Allen. We were quite surprised to see Trubisky settle on a backup job. He could have waited it out and looked for an opportunity to join a team with open QB competition. Denver and Washington would have been ideal fits. Regardless of numbers, a guy who gets his team to the playoffs twice in 3 years should probably be looking for a better opportunity and a bigger payday than what Trubisky settled on in Buffalo. Winner: Offensive Lineman. Even though Trent Williams is about to enter his age 33 season, the 49ers were more than happy to hand him the biggest contract for an offensive lineman ever. The future Hall of Famer agreed to a mammoth 6-year deal worth $138.06 million. But Williams wasn't the only offensive lineman to set himself up financially for life. The Kansas City Chiefs had to upgrade their offensive line. They started out by releasing tackles Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher before signing Patriots guard Joe Thuney to a mega 5-year deal worth $80 million. Coming off of a career season with the Green Bay Packers, center Corey Linsley signed a 5-year deal worth a whopping $62.5 million. That's the richest contract among all NFL centers, and it promises to reset the positions market entirely. The next tier of offensive linemen also got paid handsomely. David Andrews got a 4-year, $19 million extension from the Pats. Alex Mack received $14.85 million from the 49ers over 3 years. Former Steeler Matt Filer signed a 3-year $21 million deal with the Chargers, and the Baltimore Ravens gave Kevin Zeitler a 3-year pact worth $22.5 million. That's some big money for some big men. Loser Baltimore Ravens. We love the Kevin Zeitler and Sammy Watkins additions, but the Ravens lost more than they gained this offseason. Yannick Ngakoue, Matthew Judon, and 2 of Baltimore's top pass rushers left in free agency, and GM Eric DeCosta couldn't find suitable replacements there. So the Ravens' usually stingy front seven may experience some form of regression in 2021, but that's not even the main concern here. Rather, it was the Ravens' inability to land an explosive wide receiver to help Lamar Jackson and the passing game. They reportedly made a run at Smith-Schuster, but he returned to the arch-rival Pittsburgh Steelers on a much cheaper 1-year pact. Watkins isn't a number one, and his inability to stay healthy has been well documented. If he doesn't find his game in Baltimore and if third-year product Marquise Brown can't break out, well, don't expect the passing game to improve much. The Ravens better find a receiver or two for Jackson in the draft. Winner Denver Broncos. After winning 7 games in 2019, the Broncos were expected to push for a playoff spot in 2020, but injuries to key players and a sluggish offense led to a last-place finish in the AFC West. John Elway relinquished his GM duties, and the team hired George Payton to clean up the 5 years and counting mess in Mile High City. The Broncos picked up Von Miller's option rather than let the franchise legend walk to free agency. That was a major win for the defense to start with. Patton also re-signed Shelby Harris, Kareem Jackson, and rising star Justin Simmons, another big win. Then he turned his attention to the cornerback market, where he landed former Bears Pro Bowler Kyle Fuller on a bargain 1-year deal worth $9.5 million. Veteran standout Ronald Darby was also picked up on a 3-year $30 million contract. The Broncos now have the makings of a top 5 defense. Their underachieving secondary should be that much better with Darby and Fuller, and we'll finally hopefully get to see the Von Miller-Bradley Chubb pass rushing duo work together. All the pieces are there for the Broncos to make some noise in the AFC. They just need third-year QB Drew Lock to make some strides now. But at this time, it's safe to say that Patton left a great first impression on Broncos Nation. Loser running backs. Aaron Jones was going to be the best running back on the market until he re-signed with the Packers, but the market was still filled with capable RB1s, and yet none of these guys were paid like it. The biggest running back contract handed out was a 2-year $11 million deal that Kenyon Drake signed with the Raiders. And again, this contract baffled us since he'll be a number 2 behind Josh Jacobs. Chris Carson is a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher with the Seahawks, ended up re-signing on a 2-year deal worth only $10.45 million. Super Bowl hero Leonard Fournette enjoyed a strong bounce-back campaign, and yet he settled on a 1-year extension with the Bucs that only carries a max value of $4 million. Philip Lindsay, a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher with the Broncos, took a 1-year offer from the Houston Texans for just $3.25 million. And Mike Davis had over 1,000 yards of offense for the Carolina Panthers last year, and he only got $5.5 million over 2 years from the Atlanta Falcons. Marlon Mack returned to the Colts on a 1-year deal for $2 million. James White is back with the Pats on a 1-year deal for just over $2.46 million. You get the picture. No free agent running back received a contract that was more than 2 years in length or more than $5.5 million annually. Winner, aging quarterbacks. If you're an aging quarterback, then this was probably a good free agency for you. The 2021 quarterback market wasn't as deep as last year's, but it didn't stop these guys from getting nice paydays and, more importantly, grade A opportunities. Despite a frustrating year with the Patriots, Cam Newton did enough to earn a second chance. The Pats gave him a 1-year deal worth $5.1 million plus incentives. Andy Dalton disappointed in his lone season with the Dallas Cowboys, but the QB-needy Bears were happy to give him a 1-year deal worth $10 million. Dalton can expect to be Chicago's Week 1 starter. With Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, and David Montgomery at his side, the pieces are there for Dalton to have a good year. Although we saw what he did, or he didn't do, with much more in Dallas last year. After playing musical chairs with Tua Tagovailoa in Miami last year, Ryan Fitzpatrick can expect to be a full-time starter once again in Washington after signing a 1-year, $10 million deal with Ron Rivera's team. There, he'll play behind a solid offensive line with an excellent supporting case and one of the league's top defenses. And hey, if the Texans trade Deshaun Watson, free agent pickup Tyrod Taylor would very likely slot into the starting role in Houston. Indeed, 2021 was the perfect year for aging quarterback with starting potential to hit free agency. Loser, Seattle Seahawks. Sure, the Seahawks brought back Chris Carson and Carlos Dunlap, but how exactly did they go about fixing the relationship with Russell Wilson amid the ongoing trade rumors? We do like the Gabe Jackson and Gerald Everett pickups, but the O-line is still a mess, and Jackson alone isn't going to fix that. Seattle also had a horrible secondary in 2020, and it figures to get worse after losing Shaquille Griffin to the Jacksonville Jaguars in free agency. The pass rush and run defense needed work, but it stands to get worse after they lost Jaron Reed to the Kansas City Chiefs and failed to find a replacement. Meanwhile, all three of Seattle's NFC West Division rivals made significant moves to get better. Wilson will return to the same team with a bad O-line and a brutal defense that will force him to pick up 30-something points a game in order for Seattle to win. Other than that, the Seahawks offseason wasn't so bad. Maybe fans in the Emerald City should just call it a win if Wilson isn't traded this offseason. What other winners and losers from 2021 NFL free agency should we have included on our list? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that by hitting that subscribe button down there. And if you like the video, then hit the like button. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, tune into TPS every single day for more cool videos. We'll see you.